Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where I break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. Using my over 20 plus years coaching experience, I give you a real insight into actually what's going on in football, instead of what the Muppets on TV or some of these idiot ex-pros who can barely speak English actually are talking about. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit at the start here, just a little bit about Liverpool's collapse and why they keep doing it. And there seems to be a couple of things really going on at Liverpool right now. When they make these substitutions, I was watching this game because there was nothing else going on, and as soon as they made substitutions, the whole team sort of collapsed. They went from being very dominant and sort of controlling in the game to very much hanging on. Now, and also, the hanging on sort of phase isn't like a hanging on, we need to keep the win because, well, we're still in for the title or we're fighting for something, because they're not playing for anything. They can't move up places, they can't go down places, they are where they are. Klopp's leaving, there's only a game left. Do they really care? Yes, but do they really? No. I've played in games like this where you're winning and you're not really that bothered. Because if you score, you score. If they score, you don't care. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And it sounds silly, but it's all like in the back of your head. And it's not like at the time you're emotional about it and you want to win. Of course you do. But you're not really that fussed. There isn't that internal drive to go, right, we need to do this to win the league. We need to do this to become second in the league. Because you can't. So you know that. You know all of those things in the back of your head. So you're not playing the best football you can do when these subs are made. And it's the concentration levels that I think is the issue. And that's why I think it's all about that. Because where the concentration goes, that's when the subs come in. The concentration goes when the subs come in. Because now everyone's moving around. They're all playing different roles. And they're all in different areas. And they're all like, whatever. It is what it is. And that's happened 2 games now I've watched Liverpool. But let's just talk about this first goal as it comes in here. This is the reason why sometimes you just put the ball in the box and just see what happens. Because then sometimes the goalkeeper drops it in his own goal, which is exactly what he does here. Now, I do rate this goalkeeper. I think he is going to be one of the top 5 in the world in a year or two. By this time next season, I think we'll still be talking about how wonderful he is as a goalkeeper. But right here, as this ball's coming across, all he manages to do is catch it, drop it, hit the ground, and the impact puts it into the back of the net box. I'm going to show you from another angle a little bit more detail first. As you can see here, he hasn't quite caught the ball properly. He's actually taken his eye ever so slightly off it. I think he's worried about the impact of some player coming in trying to challenge him. But something's caught his eye. Something hasn't got him completely focused on the ball. And as he starts to come down, you can see he doesn't quite have it in his hands. And it's not the impact of the ground, which I initially thought it was. It's almost like he's pulled it in and the ball's popped out over the top, if you understand that. It's like he's hugged it and it's gone pop out the top of him and it's rolled into the net box. Okay, on this first Aston Villa goal here, I want you to watch, because this is a common occurrence in the Premier League recently, is we've got this block here all focused on the ball. We've got a midfielder, you can barely see him here, this little Harvey Elliott kiddie, which I don't rate, needs to come and actually watch his midfield runner right here, and he doesn't. He's focused on watching the ball, and this massive gap opens up here. Like, if you're new to the channel, you won't have heard me yell on about the D and how important it is on corners. And if you've been here a lot of time, you'll know how much I yell about being here on crosses and corners and how often you score goals from here. And it also counts in the run of play, but it's also difficult to get there in the run of play because it's so obvious you're stood in front of the goal. Now, there's also an issue here where this guy's, not sure who he is here for Liverpool, is tracking Trent's guy. So Trent's completely doing nothing, is normal. Most overrated defender in the world, Virgil van Dijk, sitting there waiting for the cross to come in. Great. And everything else is a melee of just mayhem. If everyone's sort of marked 1v1, 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 and this guy's screaming for the ball. And Trent hasn't even noticed what's going on, can't even sort of identify it. And it comes down to turning your head. And it sounds silly. It's this, I do this training thing when you're turning your head all of the time. And it takes a good 2 or 3 years to ingrain it into players. And you go, okay, it shouldn't take that long. Yes, it does. Some of your missus have been telling you to do certain things all your life and you still don't listen to them. So, yeah, it's important. And all you've got to do is turn your head and he sees this problem here. Or Harvey Elliott, who's watching this, should have told Trent to come out. And remember, he doesn't necessarily need to get there. He just needs to make sure he doesn't get a free shot on goal. That's what his job is really to do, is try to block the shot or do something. But there's absolutely no one from the Liverpool team is coming back and identifying this. And they do have the time. They're just being lazy. So when this ball gets knocked back here, he just gets to look at how many players are here on that front post, panicking and covering that area. Trent still hasn't sort of seen him or realised the danger. And then he just gets to pass into the net box. Bosh gets himself a goal. Let's get on to the next goal. Got little strange things on this goal, not really much to talk about, but what I want to show you is this little overload that's happened here, where you've got 2 players on the outside. So this ball's played, obviously it's crossed, and he's the guy that's finishing it. What's really going on, though, is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3, 4 in the box. The numbers are even, so if they favour the attacker, well, obviously you've got the same amount of numbers in the box that they do. That's what's really going on here. That's what's creating this opportunity, because at any moment you've got 2 players marking 1, which means someone is going to be free, which someone can pick out a quality pass, which they do, and they get themselves a goal. Okay, why I'm saying that's important is because just a second this little kid, he had the ball, now he's passed it over to Gomez, and Gomez is probably trying to score, but he's never going to because he's bad at football. And what that means is now everyone else is pressuring the ball. Just from that one pass to there, 1, 2, 3 players are now pressuring the ball, leaving other players unmarked completely and utterly just because of lack of numbers. And as you just saw from the last goal, a lot of people in the Premier League don't turn their head and look around and see if there are any unmarked players, which there clearly are here on the back post, and he gets himself a little tap in and a goal. Bosh, bosh. There we go. There was a little bit of VAR controversy on the offsides, rubbish. But my problem with the VAR is it's taking 2.5 minutes to see something you can clearly see in about 15 seconds. And if you watch the idiots doing the controlling on the VAR, it's just like, it's just a bunch of boomers trying to figure out how the software works, zooming in and out. Why are you zooming in and out? Stick the lines down. What are you doing? It's like they're there for 2.5, right, we've got 2.5 minutes to look like we know what we're doing on the computer screen. Just draw the lines. What's wrong with you people? They don't do it. They take forever. Oh, except on one of the offsides that was disallowed, they didn't draw the lines, which was amazing. It's like, well, how do we know that you're telling? Because we don't trust VAR. It's like, well, we don't trust you. You don't draw the lines. You say it's offside. We don't believe you. We think it's a goal. Yeah, it's just the whole thing has become a massive joke. Okay, this is that Kwanzaa kiddie. Actually, I quite like this kiddie. The more I've watched him play in the last couple of games, he's quite decent on the ball, and he's deceptively quick as well. I don't know how real strong he is in a physical battle yet. I haven't really seen him go up against any player like that, but this guy might be somebody worth watching. So he's making a little bit of a curved run going out here, and the defender is just not smart enough here. He needs to be here, just not letting the player be behind him. That's what he needs to just make sure, because then he can challenge him. If he's in front of him, he can jump up and challenge him. Have you ever tried jumping backwards and challenging someone? It's virtually impossible. So don't do it. If you're going to go out there and mark him properly. That, standing inside and trying to, I don't know what you're doing, is absolutely stupid. This guy makes a quality little run round here, but the defender makes it so easy just by, well, basically not defending him. So this is one of the other important things about why you want to actually be behind the player and not level, or inside, because he's not level, he's inside of the player. He can get the run on you. You don't know when he's taking his first 2 steps, and if he's faster than you and you're stood still, he's going to be 2 steps in front of you. And that's what's just happened here. Now, if he's marking him like I said, he would have tracked his run, and at this point here, he would have been able to jump up and try to win the header. Would he have won it? No, maybe not, but he would have put him off enough so he wouldn't just be able to just knock it, cushion it, straight into the far corner of the net box. That was too easy, an easy run, and no challenge from the defender whatsoever. There's no point in having a defender. If you're going to do that, just don't bother playing. Just go take a nap. Go sit on the bench. You're doing exactly the same thing. Let's get on to the next goal. I want to show you this just if I can, because this is a Trent moment again. Now, I just don't believe this kid should be playing right back. I think he's one of the most talented footballers you can be, and he's wasting his time playing as a right back because he just doesn't know what he's doing there. Get this guy somewhere else, because he creates problems for this team, and it's just not good for him. Now, but he does identify this problem, and I want to show you this, and you can see it. He sees it in real time, because it looks like he's playing that guy onside. He's not. I think the guy's offside by a little micro hair or something silly, but Trent realises that he hasn't done the right thing, whereas his line is there. He should be there with that guy there, and he's not. He's not done it right. And then what he does to make up for it is he starts accelerating. Bosh! And off he goes. He panic runs. No one else is panic running. He is. They're all going, he's offside, because they don't expect their right back to be playing. But he is absolutely sprinting to get back there because he thinks he's made a mistake and he's trying to recover for it again. And you don't want him, a player in that sort of mindset where, oh my God, it's me again. I've done it wrong again. I'm the right back playing them onside again. I haven't got up quick enough again. Because when he's on the ball, he's great. So why don't you figure out how to do that and stop stressing the player out doing all these horrible things here, because he's never going to understand this. Doesn't get it. It's just a waste of time. And that coming, well, and also I'm not sure what Klopp's thinking, because, well, he's out the door next week, isn't he? So, yeah, it's so strange to me that they don't use him in a better area. Well, there we go. We'll get onto the goal. And this is where it all kind of goes Pete Tong. You've got Alexi McAllister sitting here in the middle instead of Endo, and he's got all the time and space in the world to take a touch, knock it out here, do whatever he wants. But He's in a role that so here's the point. He is familiar with this role. You can't say he's not familiar because he's played there a number of times all the way through the season. Now, here's the funny thing. Me doing all these goal breakdowns, I know for a fact that he's done this one time before in this season. When the ball's come in, he's had a little bit of a bad first touch and they've just capitalised and scored instantly from it. Can't tell you what game, but I know it's happened. It was actually on the other side of the field. It might have been at Anfield. But yeah. I can remember the clip well. But as he comes in here, this is one of the things that I always try to tell players that aren't quality on the ball, that don't have fantastic technique. Touch it before you turn. Sounds silly, okay? So what I mean by that is right now, as this ball comes in, he's going to try to catch the ball and turn in one fluid motion. I don't want you to do that because you're not good enough. I want you to touch it before you turn. So watch, as it comes in, do you see he's trying to turn and touch it all at the same time and he misses the ball? Why I ask players that aren't good enough to touch it before you turn, and they don't understand that they're not good enough. You don't tell them that. You just say, I need you to stop it, and then you can turn. Because when you stop it, at least your body is in between you and the ball and someone behind you that you can't see yet. And they can't make mistakes like this. And when they're not quite good enough, you'll be shocked at how many times people make this mistake, thinking they're good enough to do a little spin turn, and they give the ball away. Yeah, so don't do that. Touch it, then turn, make yourself a solid player. But then this is how they get their next. Of course, it's just knocked on. And here's one of the problems when you're playing out the back and you make a mistake like this. You are so exposed through the middle. You've got so many other issues. You've got to be perfect, and they're not. So they lose the ball. To be fair, he's still got a bit of work to do. It's a decent strike. It's actually a good goal. This guy whaps it from out here. Bush puts it down low and hard. Alisson, here's the thing. He's a world-class keeper in the top one, definitely in the top 3 in the world. I think he saves that, but he doesn't. I don't know why he doesn't get down quick enough. The ball is on the ground. If you're doing a nice, powerful shot, I do like those ones on the ground, so the keeper can't get up and knock them away, and it just goes into the net box. Okay, so this is after Liverpool have made all these changes, and you've got Alexis McAllister playing in the endo role, and he's just not quick enough reading the danger. And it's not just him. You can actually see they look like they're in perfect shape right there. But being in shape is just the start of it, right? You also need to understand and identify where the players are. He hasn't. Look, I think this is Szoboszlai, that Hungarian dude. He needs to come back and actually do this job here, but he's not. They're all pressing the ball a little bit high. Well, that's okay. He's there, but Salah's up here. There's no one over here. Like, can you see all of these gaps? Even though they are kind of in their shape, Villa are just still finding all of this space in between all of their players. He's in between, he's in between, he's in between. And none of the Liverpool players are really getting over to mark him or get close to them. So now the simplest thing happens as he rolls in. McAllister starts pressuring the ball, which he's supposed to as, defensive midfielder. That's all he's meant to do. But then everybody else doesn't sort of realise the danger. I'm not sure who this player is here. But what happens is this, right? When you know he's pressuring there, where's the space going to be? Exactly where he's come from. That's where your next port of call is. Your next port of call isn't to go and pressure the ball because he's already doing that. There's two of you can't go and do that because you're leaving the gap from where he's coming from. Someone has to come back in here. There's 2 Liverpool players here. Neither of them do it. And it makes it so simple for what happens next. He just runs past Alexis McAllister. He just outdoes him because obviously he's running. It's one of the simplest things in the world. People don't do it more in football. As he's running that way, you run that way. He can't change his direction that easily and you just go straight past him. It's that simple. And that's what he does there. Now he's just running at the back 4 from one little simple pass. Someone's over-pressured it and just got beaten for pace. And now they're off to the races. Now this is a bit, this is kind of interesting, this. Because it's not really a shot. It kind of like fires, hits the guy in the middle and bounces up over the goalkeeper. But one of the things in football, if you can't be good, be lucky. And this guy was lucky. And he looks to play a simple through ball right onto his foot. And he doesn't. As he plays it, it bounces up over into the next box, into the net box, and Villa get there a little tie in 3-3. Liverpool chuck it away, but they may have chucked away the title as well. It's just been a weird season for them. But honestly, from where they've come from last season to now, they're doing a great job. I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.